So can we start?
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
So good afternoon all. NISM with SEBI warmly welcomes all the participants to today's webinar on SEBI circulars regarding the cybersecurity and cyber resilience framework for SEBI registered entities. The main objective of the CSCRF is to address evolving cyber threats aligned with industry standards, promote effective audits, and ensure compliance among SEBI regulated entities. The CSCRF also provides standardized format for reporting by regulated entities. Today, we are honored to have Mridu Smita Goswami, GM of SEBI Information and Technology Department with us. With this, I will now hand over the session to her and to provide a few insights on the circular. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for such a well welcome. I'll ask Adesh only to take this forward. I'll be there in between. Need be, I'll be giving my feedback or input on that.
So thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Adarsh sir, over to you.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Hope my slides are visible. Just ma'am, please can you confirm slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So this webinar is related to the cybersecurity and cyber resilience framework for SEBI regulated entities. So before going into the deeper details of CSCRF, which we have released last August, we wanted to demonstrate our journey, which we have tread till now, and what we have done in cybersecurity related domains. So cybersecurity importance was not new to us. We knew that it is a crucial thing as IT and IT operations are becoming more and more crucial for any organization, leave alone the SEBI regulated entities or any organization in the BFSI sector. So SEBI has released its first cybersecurity circular in July 2015 for our market infrastructure institutions. These institutions comprises of stock exchanges, depositories, and clearing corporations, which are at the cornerstone of securities market ecosystem. So after this 2015 circular, on the similar lines, we issued the circulars for stock brokers, depository participants, asset management companies, portfolio managers, registrar to an issuance share transfer agents. So by this exercise, we covered 6 categories of REs comprising of MIIs, AMCs, PMS, KRAs, QRTs, and stockbrokers and DPs. So everything was going till now, was very fine from 2015 to 2020. So after 2020, what happened has been the COVID thing, and with that COVID, what struck was the remote management or the work from home culture. With this work from home culture, what happened is a lot of vulnerabilities where the companies, where the organization who were not able to address or resolve those vulnerabilities which were coming or which were opening through the remote work culture were being exploited, and a lot of cyber threats were emerged. And through the cyber threats and the emerging technologies which are coming in nowadays through AIs and generative AIs, the attacks have gone bit more sophisticated and complex. To address that, we were already taking the annual compliances, and different periodicities were mentioned and mandated for the SEBI regulated entities. So we were checking all those compliances, and what we have found was that there was a lot of gaps in compliances. Means the regulated entities were submitting the compliance report, but on the ground level, those compliances were lacking the full proof details, or they were glaring gaps. And also from 2015, we have observed a lot of cyber incidents in securities market. So a lot of knowledge has gone behind in drafting the CSCRF, so that how we can address in preventing those cyber incidents for not only bigger entities in the securities market ecosystem, but also those smaller entities who are having less resources and less financial capacities. So what we felt that after this COVID and a lot of technological landscape change, what we felt that there is an urgent need to revisit our existing framework. And through this, we thought of revising our earlier frameworks. And with this change, when we began to revisit this framework, what we thought of from 2015 to 2024 or 2023, there are a lot of new technologies have come up. There are a lot of new challenges have come up, and we need to address those challenges also. Whether it's like if you come to know that the adoption of new technologies, like nowadays many companies, many REs are using open source at a scale. So open source is being a wonderful concept. It gives you leverage that technologies is no more a copyright, and people are using open source code, open source stuff, open source software everywhere, and it is being used at a large scale. But what it leaves a trail is that the code is open. The vulnerabilities which that code, which that software or the SaaS service is having, is open to all. And that is open to the attackers, the threat actors as well. And those threat actors can exploit, can use those vulnerabilities to get into your system and harm your IT infrastructure as well as your core business operations. Nowadays, apps are using everywhere now. Website used to be popular in 2015, but now mobility apps are at everywhere. People are trading through their apps, people are investing through their apps, people are watching videos, and everything is through apps and phones. And social media has grown leaps and bounds in these 10 years. And after this, AI and ML techniques like generative AI and large language models, the technologies have grown a lot more sophisticated, and attackers have also adopted these technologies at a faster pace than we are doing it. And next comes as the quantum proofing. Now we know that the cybersecurity's cryptographic technologies which we are using nowadays will not be useful in next 2 or 3 years to come. The technologies, the cryptographic method, the cryptographic algorithms, which is secure today, may not be secure 2 years later. So what attackers are doing is they are adopting the methodology of harvest now, decrypt later. So they are not sure whether they can decrypt your data today, but they are harvesting your data today, and when the quantum thing will become commercial in nature, will become a reality, they are going to decrypt that data and going to harm your systems in 2 or 3 years, whenever that quantum is going to be a reality. And also, next thing, Government of India has issued the DPDP Act, and the draft rules are also in the public domain. So the compliance to DPDP is not only crucial, but is an act which every organization, not only SEBI REs, has to follow. And third, the challenge which an organizations are facing, the capacity building. Now, the threat actors are much more advanced, threat actors are much more complex, but at the same time, the capacity, the human resources which we are having in the securities market ecosystem are not that up to mark. So we need to build that capacity, we need to build that awareness, we need to do that training for our professionals who are operating in the securities market, to train them up to a level so that they can resilient to those threats which are coming to their organization. Coming is the next key risk which all organizations are facing. First is the FOMO. Now people are without any organization, without any risk assessment or risk management, they are just procuring anything which there sounds fancy, which there sounds is a new trend to market, without evaluating their feasibility and their risk assessment with respect to their IT infrastructure. So first, that FOMO has to be avoided. Now next comes whenever that change management, whenever there is a IT infrastructure which people are having, so patches, the vulnerabilities, patches comes into on a very frequent basis. That change management has to be very proper, has to be very aligned and very streamlined in a way that there is no unauthorized change goes into the production chain, so that it can harm to a system. Third is the people risk. It is being said that in the people, process, and technology triad, peoples are the strongest people are the strongest link in that chain. But at the same time, people are also at the weakest link. with those social media outreach, which I have already told in our earlier slide, now people are falling prey to the attacks like phishing, smishing, and wishing, so that they can fall to those social media attacks, social engineering attacks, and through this, a simple click can lead to a very humongous harms to their IT infrastructure. Third is the concentration risk. Now, what we have observed is in our ecosystem, a few of the service provider have captured a lot of a majority of the market share. Now, what has happened is with these a few service providers, what has been observed that there may be a vulnerability in one of their systems, and it can affect the larger securities market ecosystem at a scale. So we need to address this concentration risk as well. And last one is the cyber risk, that it comes along with the VAPT, it comes along with the penetration testing, it comes along with that scenario-based resilience testing. So we need to address the cyber risk as well. Coming up to next, being a regulator of the securities market ecosystem, no circular is being issued without the value proposition of protecting investors. So first, the value proposition is that the CIA TRAD. The CSCRF mandates SEBI REs to have confidentiality, integrity, availability, and non-repudiation, which in turn promotes the investor awareness and gives them confidence that this Indian securities market is cyber resilient to handle all those cyber threats which are a reality in nature. Next is that validation through two-factor authentication. And two-factor authentication is now passwords, as I already told, in quantum proofing, passwords may be hacked or passwords may be broken. So that two-factor authentication or a multi-factor authentication in general is a very necessary thing which every RE has to adopt while giving the investors money to invest, or giving any trading or giving any other such services. Next is that API management. APIs are used everywhere nowadays, whether it's a web portal or it's a mobile app. So every backend communication is happening through APIs, and managing an API inventory or securing it from the throttling or the rate limiting like technologies has become very crucial, where we can not only secure APIs through the backend, where it can also exploit the APIs which are being shared among REs, not only the REs to investor side. Fourth one is the penetration testing. Now, the applications which are investor facing in general, or internet facing applications, are more prone to such attacks. So we need to give more importance, more criticality to those kind of applications. With this, what a technology, what a practice has been observed in general is the penetration testing, where you hire, where you procure some auditor, some service, where they try to penetrate into a system, they try to exploit the open vulnerabilities without any access or without any authorization. So these kind of controls, these kind of guardrails we have mandated through our CSCRF, which safeguards those investor facing applications. And last one is the awareness and training. So if you go through that, there is a proper standard and the related guidelines which have been mandated for investors as well as the SEBI REs, which not only promotes the awareness and training culture among SEBI REs, but also promotes the awareness among the investors at a larger scale. Next is the CSCRF, how CSCRF is being developed, and it strengthens the securities market. Now, if you go through our previous circulars, if you see that it was mostly a guidelines-based circulars, where all 53, 54 controls were applicable on every RE. What we have noticed that not every RE is at the same level. There needs to be a proper categorization. There needs to be because every RE at different maturity scale, and we need to realize that, and we need to be aware of that. So what we have done in CSCRF is that we have categorized those REs into 5 major categories. So first one is the market infrastructure institution. So those are very crucial and very important for our securities market ecosystem. So there needs to be highest compliant from the cybersecurity and cyber resilience perspective. Next category is the qualified REs, which are not at the MII's level, but are big enough, are having big span of operations or big asset under management or different other parameters which we have devised. They are big enough to follow a decent enough controls and guidelines which they need to abide by to remain compliant to CSCRF. Next one is the mid-size REs who are not big as the qualified. There comes the lesser compliance, there comes the lesser controls compliances. And fourth and fifth are the small and self-certification REs who are at the very small scale. So there needs to be very less compliances. They are having less capacity from the financial side as well as the human resources side. So we have taken those things into consideration before drafting this CSCRF. Next one is the governance structure, summation of compliances and the roles of CISOs. We know that cybersecurity is not a activity for a day-to-day operations only. We need to inculcate the cybersecurity culture from top to bottom. And to do that, there has to be a streamlined governance structure where not only the people who are working into the cybersecurity, they are aware. There needs to be a cybersecurity culture where from the board to the top management and executives are also aware of the cybersecurity culture in that organization, and they are also aware of the threats which cybersecurity or the compliances it poses. Next one is the SOC, Securities Operations Center. We know that SOC is the heart and soul of any cybersecurity operations, and it is very crucial for any entity. We know that in the categorization, what we have done is the small and self-certificate category. They are not big enough. They are not having those deep pockets who can afford to procure all those costly solutions. So to enable them, to give them the flexibility, what we have done is we have asked the market SOC to be set up by the NSE and BSE. So they are developing that market SOC where small and self-certification categories can get onboarded and can leverage those tools, those technologies at a very economic scale, and they can get the same cyber resilience capacity. Fourth one is the resilience, which covers the cybersecurity drills. We know that as of now, the older drills which we used to do are no longer relevant or are lesser relevant at least. So we need to be aware that we need to have a resilience-based testing where not only we can do normal traditional security drills, but also we need to cover those scenarios-based resilience drill so that if an unfortunate cyber incident or a cyber threat comes, we know how to respond, why to respond, and what we can do to overcome that incident. So for that, endpoint security, attack isolation, and threat hunting has been covered. The next one is the empanelment of vendors. So from the last circulars, what we have observed is exchanges empanel a lot of vendors for the certification, and their STQC certification was becoming a problem. So through this CSCRF, we have also removed that guideline, and we have enabled those REs, those brokers who were getting those softwares, where now the responsibility has been put in on the exchanges. So before empanelment of their vendors, they need to do that STQC certification for securing their software, which they are going to give to their members. Next one is the tabletop exercises. So tabletop exercises, SEBI has also realized the importance of tabletop exercises where actual scenarios shall be given to all the participants, and then their responses shall be recorded how they are going to respond in an unfortunate incident of cyber attack. So through these tabletop exercises, we are giving a lot of training and awareness to the industry, to the REs in general, how they can become resilient, how they can upgrade themselves with the tactics and with the state-of-the-art tactics other REs are following, or how they can upgrade themselves and become more aware to become more resilient. Last one is the industry initiatives along with NISM. So first of all, I wanted to thank NISM for conducting such training and awareness sessions in form of webinars for our REs. And these webinars are not limited for the big REs. They are limited. They are also having participants from the smaller REs who are getting benefits from such webinars, so that they can get more aware, they can be more prepared how to compliant with this CSCRF, and also become more aware why this is important and what is the intent of SEBI in coming with this circular. Next one is the in the CSCRF we have covered a lot of things. So this cyber capability index, SOC efficacy, compliance, and cyber audits. So this is a summary as of now. We'll cover through these indexes, these efficacy reports in general in detail in our later slides. So as I already told, the background which we have told, so this we have already covered, like what is the intent and how those existing cybersecurity and cyber resilience framework covered our 6 categories of REs, and what we do to formulate the SEBI CSCRF or SEBI REs. So with this, the consultation paper for CSCRF has become very comprehensive and exhaustive. So we issued the consultation paper on in July 2023, and it was open for public consultation for 5 weeks. And we, in between these periods, we conducted a lot of day-long meetings and workshops between SEBI and various REs and other industry service providers, and we got more than 700 inputs from 45 plus REs, including government entities, including the industry associations, REs, and other associations. So we went through each and every input and comments we have received. We looked into the feasibility of that comment. We looked into whether that comment can be accepted or not. And based on that every input, based on the inputs received from the SEBI REs, we changed our framework, we changed the consultation paper, and we finalized it in form of CSCRF, which was issued on August 2024. Coming up next is the major principles we have followed in CSCRF. So as of now, what I was already telling is in our earlier circulars, the priority was cybersecurity. But through the CSCRF, what we have come up with is cybersecurity and cyber resilience has to be seen in a holistic manner, where cyber resiliency has been given more importance, because no organization is safe, no matter how much security we take, how much effective measures we take, cyber attacks are bound to happen. So when that D-Day will come, how will you recover? How will you withstand those cyber attacks has become very important. So for that, we have taken 5 cyber resiliency goals adopted from the certain cyber crisis management plan. And these cyber resiliency goal has been mapped with the internationally accepted NIST cybersecurity function. Those are identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. And in these 5 cybersecurity functions, we have added one more cybersecurity function, which is very crucial, which we understand is very crucial, is the governance function. And if you see that out of 128 standards are there, we have mapped those 6 cybersecurity functions, and in that 6 cybersecurity functions, we have divided various sub-controls into it. So if you see in governance cybersecurity function, there are 6 sub-controls. First one is the organizational context. Second one is the roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Third one is the policy. Fourth one is the oversight. Fifth is risk management. And the last one is the cybersecurity supply chain risk management. So those are important from the governance cybersecurity function point of view. From the identify perspective, asset management and risk assessment are the important, which have been given due diligence, and there has been proper standards and guidelines for it. Similarly, has been covered for protect, detect, respond, and recover. So if you go through that, this has been the overview, what functions we have been following, what goals we are trying to achieve, and what are the sub controls under it. So this is a master overview, you can say that, which we have covered in CSCRF. And now coming to the structure, as I have already told, the 5 cyber resiliency goals, then the 6 cybersecurity function, then the mapping, and then coming to the structure, how into each of those sub controls, what we are going to do. So in every sub control, what we have done is what is the objective of that sub control? What are we trying to achieve? Next one is the standard, how we are trying to achieve, what is the gold standard in that. So that once that standard has been written, now we are going to enable the RE, how an RE can achieve that particular standard, and how RE can fulfill that objective. So part 2 covers that guidelines perspective. And in this guidelines section also, there are two bifurcations. One is the mandatory guideline, another one is the recommendatory guideline. So mandatory guideline is which are applicable for a particular set of RE. They have to comply with that. And recommendatory are in recommendatory nature, and it is in the best of their interest that they can follow it, but it is not have been mandated to follow those guidelines. Third part is the compliance format. So as of now, there were different formats for different reportings, different annexures were there. So through this CSCRF, we have standardized all these compliance formats, whether it's BAPT, whether it's cyber audit, whether it's red teaming, whether it's any other reporting formats which we have been covered in cybersecurity domain as of now. And the part 4th is the other annexures and references we have included in CSCRF. So as I've already told, for the ease of compliance, what we have done is REs only we need to comply with all these standards which are applicable for that particular category. So there have been some exemptions have been given to a small and self-certification category as well as mid-sized categories. And then in the guidelines which have been marked as mandatory, because there are few guidelines which are recommendatory in nature and REs are not being mandated to follow that specific guidelines. 5 categories I've already told you. So I'm moving forward. So coming to the key highlights. So I'll go into the one by one sub-control and specific sub-controls of those specific objectives and standards. So before going into deeper each and every guideline, so I'll go into the key highlights which we have covered. So I've already told you to enable, to grow, to inculcate that cybersecurity, cyber resilience culture in an organization. The governance is very crucial. The governance is very important, and we know that we have recognized that, and through this CSCRF, we are emphasizing on that governance structure, so that the board top executives are aware that what is the cybersecurity, how crucial is that for their organization, and what they are going to do, and how they can oversight that cybersecurity specific measures. Next one is the cyber risk management. So because in every organization, a few of the IT related infrastructure, a few of the IT operations are being outsourced to some third party service providers. So to manage that supply chain risk management, because we all know how Log4j, how vulnerabilities create the havoc in the entire world, not only Indian market ecosystem. And similarly, there are other supply chain risk examples which created havoc for all of the organization around the world. So managing that supply chain risk is become very crucial and has become very important. So for that, there are different guidelines which we cover in the later slides. Next one is the security guidelines for data classification, API security, and SOC operations. So as of now, the standard methodology which were being followed for the data was the critical, confidential, and those kind of standards were there. Through this, we have come up with two set of data classification. One is the regulatory data, and other one is the IT and cybersecurity data. The details we are going to cover it later, but as of now, this is the new terminology which we have come up with, so that REs can be aware that what kind of regulatory data is being expected from the regulator. Next one is the API security and SOC operations, which we have covered already. A third one is the securities operation center. So as of now, we have mandated all REs to establish the SOC operations, but we have given them flexibility to what kind of model they can choose as per their IT infrastructure, as per their feasibility. So first one is either they can have their own SOC if the REs are having enough resources or having enough financial strength, they can go for their own SOC. Second one is they can have the third party SOC, because there are many service providers who are giving SOC as a service, so they can choose their third party SOC also. And third one is the market SOC, which we have come up with the after giving the mandate to NSE and BSE, where they are setting up SOC for specifically for the smaller and self-certified category, but now they're aiming, they're upgrading themselves to incorporate to onboard the mid-size, the other large REs as well. So this flexibility is very important, is very important for them, because now REs have the flexibility. They can choose from any of these three SOC operations, whichever model they want to choose. These structured formats we have already covered. Our fifth one is the CCI for MIs and qualified REs. So this is a very quantitative 23 parameters framework to check the cyber resiliency of such large REs which are crucial from our securities market ecosystem point of view. And in that, we have defined those 23 parameters. We have given respective weightages for those parameters, and there is a formula specifically for calculation of those parameters, where an MII or qualified REs can measure their cyber resiliency, and they can help, they can check the monitor and assess their cyber resilience on a periodic basis. The periodicity is different for MIIs and qualified REs, and also for MIIs we have mandated it on a through a third party auditor, and for qualified it is on a self-assessment basis. Markets of which we have already covered to equip the smaller size REs with adequate cyber security measures. Now we are going to the brief controls of a specific cyber resiliency goal and cyber security function. So as I already told you, first cyber resiliency goal was anticipate, and the function was function mapped with it was the governance. So with this, as governance is very important, so there has to be enforcement of the risk management rules, which in an organization know that every person knows his or responsibility, what they are going to do. The second one is the cyber security policy. So if an organization is getting a policy approval from the board partners, proprietors, so they don't know, top management knows that what is the importance of that cybersecurity policy and how to be in comply with that. So through this cybersecurity policy approval from the board partners, proprietors, we are emphasizing a culture, we are emphasizing an awareness where top management will be aware and will know the importance of cybersecurity in their specific organization. Next one is the cyber capability index, which you've covered in already earlier slide. It is to measure their cyber resiliency. It is to measure their cyber resiliency and a specific score on a numerical quantifiable basis. Fourth one is the reporting of CISO to the MD and CEO of the RE. So as of now, in different organizations, which we have observed is CEO used to report to some risk director or to some other authority, but what was having is what was the scenario was that the CEO doesn't have the visibility, CEO doesn't have the voice directly to the top management organization, top management or of the organization. So when a CEO is reporting directly to the MD CEO of the RE, she will be aware, so that he can report directly to that top management, and she will make the top management aware of the cybersecurity risk that organization is facing, and which steps are being taken to withstand and respond to those attacks. So this is being this specific clause is being added to enhance the governance perspective, governance structure in among SEBI REs. Coming up next is the identify. Cybersecurity control, the identify is mapped with the cyber resiliency goal anticipate. So in this, as we all know, there are a lot of assets which are being present in an organization, and we sometimes forget that we don't have even accountability, we don't have even inventory proper of those asset managements. And sometimes those assets are critical, sometimes those assets are not critical, and we are not even aware of. And what happens is, when those assets are not in our inventory and not in our knowledge, those assets become shadow assets and can become a source, can become the open door for such cyber threats, which the threat actors can exploit and can enter into your system. So first and foremost is the identification, where we need to identify and classify our systems based on their sensitivity and criticality. And that asset inventory has to be proper and has to be updated on a periodic basis as and when the organization is onboarding new and newer assets. A third one is the conduct the risk assessment of the IT environment of the organization, because conducting the risk assessment is important, not just from the cybersecurity point of view. Because if you know that whenever you're onboarding, whenever you're doing any project, whenever you're doing any procuring any new system, so you conduct that risk assessment, you check that feasibility, whether that product, whether that solution is really applicable for your organization or not. So that risk assessment has to be conducted. And CSCRF has given a few steps, has given a few broader guidelines how those assets, how that risk assessment can be done, and how the remediation, the risk emanating after this risk assessment can be resolved and can be closed in a specific time bound manner. Fourth one is the third party service provider related risk, which we have already talked about. That supply chain risk management is very important, and SEBI recognizes that many REs have taken the services of those third-party service provider. So what we can do is, no matter we can't limit the REs to not onboard the third-party service provider, but if they are onboarding any third-party service provider, the aspects related to the CIA triad and the security of the data and logs lies with the RE. So in the end, RE shall be solely accountable for all aspects related to those third-party service provider. So through this, REs need to incorporate, REs need to update their contract agreements getting signed with these third-party service provider, where they can give the visibility to themselves as well as the regulator that they can check and they can do all these inspection and whenever required. Third one is the protect function. If you see that there are a lot of incidents, whenever an incident happen, what we are going to do is we are going to search for the logs. We are going to search into the logs that what has happened and what is was there any unusual activity in those logs. So for that, a very strong log retention policy has to be followed, and then access authorization and authentication mechanism has to be followed. So with this, CSRF has mandated all those, and certain has also mandated 6 years of logs retention. So through this CSCRF, what we have mandated is a 6 years of log retention policy in an online manner, and an 18 months of log in an archival mode. So through this, we have given the flexibility to the REs so that they are not overburdened with the log storage in an online manner, which can create a cost to them. So in the archival mode, they can keep the log for 18 months, and only 6 months they have to keep the logs in an online manner. Next one is the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. We all know that it is a standard practice being followed across the industry, that that the vulnerability assessment is being done and the open observations are being closed in a time-bound manner. But what we have observed during the gaps in the compliance check is that the observations coming from the VAPT reports were not being closed, or the VAPT report itself was not being so accurate, and some of the assets, some of the critical systems were being removed from that VAPT assessment. So through this VAPT, we have given a proper scope of VAPT through CSCRF, and also if in between of the audit, in between of the financial year and the VAPT has happened, and if they are onboarding a new critical systems, so then also it is being mandated that the VAPT of that system has to be done, so that before that system is getting plugged into your production system, there has to be a certain surety, there has to be a certain maturity that that system is free from any malwares, free from any backdoors or any such vulnerabilities. Third one is the all internet facing systems. As I've already told you, that internet facing systems are more prone to the cyber attacks, so there has to be a multi-factor authentication, and these internet facings are mostly related to the investor facing applications as well. So implementing and mandating the multi-factor authentication is not only important from the RE's perspective, but also important from the investor's perspective as well. Fourth one is the mobile application related security. As I've already told that nowadays people are doing trading, people are doing investing through mobile only. So mobile application security has become very crucial. So through CSCRF, OWASP mobile application security verification standard has been referred as the guideline to develop the mobile application. And there, other than that, OWASP mobile application security verification standard, we have given a proper 6-7 guidelines which every RE has to be followed to develop their mobile application, which can ensure that their mobile is free from any such vulnerabilities. Fifth, API security, we have, I think, talked a lot in detail earlier as well. So now I come to the detect part, where it is the SOC, establishment of SOC has been mandated, and other detection processes, other detection technologies which we have mandated for the continuous monitoring of security events have been mentioned to detect any unusual attack, any anomalous activities, and any such unusual behavior which can be detected in a timely manner to detect any attack in an advance. Next one is the respond. So no matter whatever we do, incidents are bound to happen. And if that incident has happened, what to do is not clear, then there is a chaos. So how to avoid that chaos is to formulate, after formulating a cyber crisis management plan. If there is a cyber crisis management plan and there are different scenarios have been mentioned and what to do is being clearly articulated, those REs, if during the incident scenarios have a visibility that if this particular incident has happened, at least they can take all those 4 or 5 steps, whatever is there, to respond in a faster manner, in an agile manner. So with this CCMP, there is a attached incident response management plan and the respective SOPs also. So with this CCMP and this incident response management plan, they can have a better visibility, they can have a better preparation to respond to those incidents. Now, after responding to those incidents, comes as the recovery part. Once that incident happens, your business got shut. Now, to up your systems is the recovery part. How to recover and what to recover, the core and critical business operation, the business continuity has to be ensured. So taking all these factors into consideration, we have given a draft recovery plan, we have given a draft response plan for the REs, which they can at least adopt which they can adopt and they can tweak based on their IT infrastructure, based on their IT strength, based on their IT maturity. And those response and recovery plan shall be beneficial for all of them if an unfortunate cyber incident occurs. Next one is the scenario-based cyber resilience testing is I've already talked about. So now the traditional drills are lesser efficient. So what we have done is we have given a proper sample scenarios for an exchange, and we have asked the REs to simulate, to draw these scenarios based on their business operation, which they can test to validate their ability to recover and resume operations after the cyber incident. So after this attack, the respond and recovery part, so what is the next step is the evolve. So after this, if those kinds of cyber incidents are happening again, the RE has to be enough cyber resilient so that they can withstand those cyber resilient. So for this, evolve is the last and the foremost category in every of the cybersecurity function, where they can take those controls to tackle those upcoming cyber challenges, and they can become more cyber resilient to avoid those cyber threats. Next is the now we have covered all those brief controls and their specific few of the guidelines. Now we are going to tell that what kind of pain points and the resolution which we have provided through CSCRF. Now, as we all know, earlier the circular was uniform. So even if you take the example of stockbrokers, if you take the example of qualified stockbroker, the Zerodha has to follow the same controls which an broker from the tier 2 or tier 3 city has to follow. So that graded approach was not there. So through the CSCRF, we have come up with a graded approach where those 5 categories have been drafted, and REs which are falling into specific categories has to follow only those specific controls, and other more stricter compliance they can avoid. So this graded approach is very helpful for those smaller set of entities which were finding it very difficult in the earlier circulars for getting complied with this CSCRF. Next one is the aggressive timelines. So a few of the timelines have been revised, and as of now, those glide path has been given to comply with the standards and control prescribed in the CSCRF. So as of now, next is the data classification and data localization. As of now, the data localization guidelines have been kept in abeyance because there was a need felt to have further consultation. And in the April month itself, we have conducted an open house discussion where we called all the major REs who are having some of the issues related to the data localization. And now those REs have formed a working group. Now they will submit their report, and we'll go through the report submission and their suggestions made. And then we'll come up with the modified data localization related guidelines. Next one is the STQC audit. So as I told you, the earlier the responsibility was lying on the members who were onboarding such applications and such softwares. Now MIAs have been mandated to conduct these audits by STQC before impaneling and software and applications. So now those members are free from their burden of having those STQC audits as well. Next is the enablement through CSCRF. So as I've already told you, we have mandated the Securities Operations Center for every RE in the securities market ecosystem. There have been few exemptions, but those are very, very such REs where the quantum of business operations they are having is very less. So through this market SOC, what we have covered is we have given the flexibility, we have given the enablement to the small and self-certification REs to get onboarded to the market SOC, where they can leverage the economies of scale, where they can leverage the facility set up by both leading exchanges, BSE and NSE, and can get the same benefits, can get the same security and same resiliency at a very lesser cost, which if they are going to get procure on their own. So this is a very wonderful concept, and new concept has been come up by SEBI, and both BSE and NSE have started the markets of operations. So if there are in the attendees there are certain REs who are not onboarded yet, they can reach out to both BSE and NSE to get onboarded and can leverage the markets of facility. Next one is the auditor's checklist and guidelines. As of now, because audit is a very subjective concept, and one auditor may be verifying a particular standard, may be verifying a particular guideline in a specific manner, but the other auditor may verify or may give some other observations. So to ensure that uniformity, a specific auditor's checklist and guidelines have been included so that the objectivity can be achieved and there is a proper uniformity among all the audit reports which we are going to receive in time to come. Next one is cyber capability index is already talked about. Now coming to the functional efficacy of SOC, we know that as we have given the flexibility to REs to set up their own SOC, third-party SOC or the market SOC, we need to measure the efficiency of all the three SOCs which they are having. To measure the efficacy of that SOC, there has to be a proper objective methodology which if they are going to calculate, they can come to a number which is comparable also among the REs and can also give us the picture that yes, this is the SOC which is the most efficient and operating at a very good capacity, and the other one is not operating at that much capacity. So through this, if you go through the annexure N of the CSCRF, you'll see that there is a numerical methodology has been given to calculate the functional efficacy of the SOC. And even in that functional efficacy of SOC, the small size and self certification categories who have been onboarded to market SOC, they are being freed from the burden of calculating this functional efficacy of SOC. So they don't need to calculate this functional efficacy of SOC. The exchanges who have set up this market SOC, they will calculate the functional efficacy of SOC and they will submit the report to SEBI directly. So REs are free from this burden. Small size REs and self certification REs are free from this burden as well. So through the CSCRF, there are n number of benefits through the CSCRF, not only for REs but as well for SEBI as well. And it gives a broader picture. It gives a macro global picture of all the SEBI REs in the specific cybersecurity sector. What kind of maturity they are having, what kind of resiliency they are having, and for the ease of compliance, what we have done is till the mid-size REs, that is MIIs qualified and mid-size REs, we have mandated to onboard one external independent expert in the cybersecurity matters for the respective IT committee, so that IT committee is well aware of if there is any incident, well aware of any procurement they are having in the cybersecurity domain, and well aware of any forensics VAPT reports which they are going to conduct. Next one is the structured formats for VAPT and cyber audit reports. So as of now, there were different formats which were difficult to analyze, which were difficult to comprehend on a sectoral basis as of now. So through this structured formats comes is the analytics part. So if those structured formats are coming at a larger level, at a sectoral level, we can do some analytics on it. We can get the full visibility and assessment what is going to have what is happening in the securities market in general. Fourth and last is the classification and handling of cybersecurity incidents. So as I already told, there will be incidents, there will be threats. So handling of threats is very crucial and is very important. So there has been proper guidelines have been given for the classification and handling of incidents. If an incident happened in 6 hours, we have to report to SEBI and certain. That is the national mandate as well. And next is the for every activity after that incident, like VAPT, the forensics, the presenting to the HPSC committee. So for the specific guidelines and specific timelines have been given for those handling of cyber incidents as well. With this, I have come to an end, I think, and I want to inform everyone that we have also issued. I know that most of you guys are having a lot of queries also. So we have already issued our FAQs on June 11th. So you can check those FAQs as well. It is a FAQ comprising of 75-76 questions. So most of the queries people are having will get resolved through those FAQs. And Himali ma'am, I would request we have another meeting. So we can take 2-3 queries at most, and after that we can close the webinar.
Yes, sir. Sir, can we have FAQ link on the chat?
Give me, it's on the website. I'll just maybe post the link. I'll just check. I have just messaged on the Himali ma'am, I have shared the FAQ link. You can share with the participants, I think, in general.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So
Yes, ma'am. It's already 5 o'clock, so I would request to close the session. And if participants are having any questions, ma'am, like in earlier webinars you were doing, you can compile those questions and you can send it to us, and we'll be more than happy to resolve all those questions.
sure, sir, sure. I'll send you the FAQ, all the questions and mentioned in the chat. so that you can cross verify, and then if any additional questions are there, we can add in the FAQs. So thank you
Yes.
so much everyone for joining this webinar, and we really express our heartfelt thanks to the SEBI ITD team for conducting such a great webinar and sharing the insightful knowledge. So thank you everyone, and stay tuned for the next webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you.